Hello, dear students. Welcome to this other part of C programming. And today we are going to be looking at strings, that is the basics of strings. I'm sure most of you were about the fact that this video is about writing some programs linked to two-dimensional arrays, but do not worry because those programs will be solved under majority of the GC questions we shall be solving under modular programming and on the exercises we shall have this coming Friday. That is why I saw it wise not to do them here for you guys to better understand and have more knowledge about two-dimensional array through the exercises that you will be doing yourselves. Today we are going to be looking at strings. A string is a sequence of characters that is treated as a single data item. Any group of characters except double quote sign defined between double quotation marks is a string constant. Yes, so what we usually write in our printf is a string. We declare an array of characters, it is a string. In C, a string is a null terminated character array. That is, after the last character, a null character. So this is what we call a null character. This particular slash and zero, as you can see, is what we call the null character. Is stored to signify the end of the character array. We are going to have some example where you are going to see how this is recognized as the ending of a string in C. Note, very important, you know that all the notes you find on our channel are very, very important, dear members. The terminating null character in string is very important. Every string operation checks the presence of the null character to determine the end of a string. So always provide an additional element to the string to locate its end. That is, the string literal ABC should be stored in memory as this. So dear student, if you are supposed to use a string that will contain a specific number of characters, always assign an extra byte for the ending character, because if it is not stored, you are going to have some misbehavior at the level of the compiler. Next, do not confuse the null character slash zero with the zero character, because this and this are completely different. The null character has the code 0, so this one, the code of this one is 0, while the 0 character has a different code, 48 in ASCII. We shall demonstrate that on our IDE. A string literal containing a single character is different from a character constant. That is, when I'm using double quote, you should know that we are talking about a string. But if I'm using single quote, we are talking about a character. That's what we are saying that word. A string containing a single character is different from that single character constant. They are different. So this A and this A are not the same. Let us go to our IDE in order to more understand about these different nodes. Being in our IDE, create my new program. I have my hashtag include standard input output .h. I have my int main. Now, let me define my string, that is char name 20. Let me define a character char grade. Good. So the first thing that we said is that the zero character is different from 0. Let us look at that. Printf. If I print 0, let me run this. I'm going to save this on desktop as string, you know the name, string test. So when we run this, you simply have 0, as you can see, because I'm printing 0. But now, if I come and I add a slash and I run, I'm going to have empty space, because this is known in C as the empty space, dear students. So do not confuse it. Now, another thing is that if I say char grade is equals to C, if I run, you see there is no error. But if I try and I use double quotes, let us see. If I put my C and I run, We see that we are having a warning, though it will run, but we are having a warning. But look at something. Let me put my C. Printf, what is the format specifier for a character? Percentage %C. So let me say your grade is percentage %C, comma, grade. So it will display your grade is C, a small c. Perfect, as you can see. But if I come now and I remove and I instead put double quotes, realize that it will run, but it will not display this format specifier. As you can see, it does not display the value of grade simply because, dear student, take note that using a single quote implies that you are talking about a character, but using a double quote is when you're talking about a string. That is what we are supposed to know. And also the difference between this character and zero character. They are completely different. We proceed to the lecture. String variables. Remember, a string is an array but of characters and no any type. So when we're talking about a string, you should know it's an array of characters. When we're talking about arrays, we saw the syntax to declare an array. But the particularity of a string is that the data type is char. So char because you are in C. Hence, to declare a string, the syntax is, as you can see, char. We have the string name, then you precise the size with a semicolon. As example, we have char name 20, like the one I declared, meaning that what? Name is a string of 20 characters. Being an array, the individual characters of the string can be obtained using an index. So I can say name at position I is equals to, as you can see. Initializing a string variable. Strings can be initialized at the same time they are declared in two ways. First way is by using a single quote for each character separated by a comma in a curly brace, because when we were talking about arrays, we saw how to initialize an array, and we said that when it comes to a character, when it comes to an array of characters, each character should be in between single quotes. Now, the other way of declaring, like for example, this one, you see that to declare this, it is hello world. You see that even space is attributed, is occupying a space. The other way, the method above is time consuming, which is true because putting the single quote, the comma, you might be confused and it might cause an error. It's time consuming and not appropriate to use. The best practice to use to write is to write the string directly in between double quotes. That is, to initialize the array above, the best practice is as follows. Char name 15. So I will just put my double quote, then I write the text I want to write. This and this perform the same task. Note, when initializing a string, make sure the length of the array is longer than that of the initializer. Otherwise, the compiler will omit the new character, making it unusable as a string. It is very important. You might write your program and you might not realize the code, but it is not a practice to use as a programmer of your caliber or of the caliber you are to become. Always attribute an excess byte for this terminating character, this one. Okay, we move to our IDE in order to see how to declare the array in these two different ways and see which one is advantageous over the other. Okay, so at this level, I will say char name is equals to, let me use a curly braces. You see how time consuming it is. And tell you that you cannot put two characters in the same single quote, you are going to have an error. Byte by good. So that's what we have. And if I let me say a channel name is, in order to output a string, it is percentage %s. So we are equally coming to that. So if I say name, what am I going to have? The channel name is byte by byte zero. Remember that this zero is because of this. Take note. So if I remove this and I run back, the channel name is byte by byte. You see how it is. Now the other way, if I decide to use, now let us look at something. If I put two characters here and I run, they are having an error. Although it is taken, but you see all the different warnings we are having. The channel name is byte 2y byte byte by. So you see that it's not declared, it's not outputting the bin. Let us see. If I come at this level and I put y also, let me say a and I run, what does this say? So you see that when you're putting two characters, it eliminates the first one. Instead of byte, eliminated a and outputted but eliminated b and outputted a. So take note not to put any of them in any two or more characters in the same single quote. Now let us look at if we replace a single quote by a double quote, what are we going to have? If I try and I run this, what does this say? Your channel name is byte. So you see that what is happening here? It is ending at this level because it does not recognize this as a character. So that is why it does that. So if I decide to put the double quotes at the level of B, I think what am I going to have? An error, as you can see. You see that when it's in the middle, it's not an error because the first character, the first element there was actually a character. But when it is in the middle, well, when it's at the beginning, it will output an error like the one you are seeing, dear students. So pay attention when you are using this particular method to initialize your string variable. Now, the other method we saw, if I say char name, name2, that is instead of saying this, I can just use my double quote and I say byte by byte. Put a capital B here. Then here, I will copy this and I paste here. Instead, I have name2. Then I use a slash n to separate them. So if I run this, error, semicolon omitted. Okay, so what do we have? Your channel name is bio. So you see that it does the same thing exactly. So these two ways gives the same thing. But now, as we said, they are array. So particular elements can be outputted using the index. So at this time around, if I put at index number 5, no, let me say number 4. Yes, number 5, because this is 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's going to output but B error. I hope you know why we are having this error, dear students. I hope you know why we are having the error because nothing is being outputted here. So why is the error? Because name is an array of character. So if I am to output a particular element of this string, it means that the format specifier should be that of a character and not of a string. Very important, because when I run now, I am going to have my B. As you can see, your channel name is B. And take note that this particular warning is simply because of this. Because if I comment this, I'm not going to have that warning again. Zero error. Yes. So that is what we have. So pay attention. When you want to display the string, you are using the format specifier %s, but if you want to display a particular character of the string, you are supposed to use %c. As you are moving, you are going to see how we can do to print a part of a particular string. Let us proceed with our lectures, dear students. Also, take note that it is not because here I did not precise each element like in this case, because here you can start this number 0, number 1, number 2. It does not deprive this particular one from doing the same thing, although it is declared in different ways. So this will also give me the same result, B, as you can see. We move to our lectures. Okay. Now, reading strings, very, very, very important, yes, very important. Just as printf, the scanf method uses the format specifier percentage %s. We saw that we are using the format specifier percentage %s in order to output a string. To read a string, syntax scanf percentage %s ampersand string variable. The problem we face with reading strings using scanf is that it skips white space and only stores characters entered before it. In other words, scanf is appropriate to use in reading strings made of characters without space between them. In order to read a string containing spaces, we can use the get method. The syntax is what? Get. You just put the string variable. There is no need of ampersand, format specifier, double quote. No. Get in bracket, you put the string variable. Also, strings can be read character by character just like all arrays using a for loop. So there are three different ways you can use to read a particular string. Let us look at them one by one for you to better understand, so that based on a particular problem you might be solving, you will know which of these methods you need to use in order to read values from your user. Back to our IDE. These are our variables that we have. Child name, let me say this is name 1. Okay, let me delete this initialization we did. Let me delete this one too. You already know how to initialize strings. Okay, now printf, enter the name of the first student. Scanf percentage %s ampersand name 1. Then a little copy and paste. Name 2 second. Okay. Sorry. Name 2, then here. First, your name is percentage %s, and here there is no need for braces, just put a name 1. You are not putting the braces again. Second, and name is percentage %s name 2. Remember that if you are using the braces, it means that you want to specify a particular character you want to print. Okay, let us run this. Enter the name of the first student. I'm going to enter byte. Enter the name of the second student. I will say byte by byte. So you see what is happening. First, your name is, it displays byte, the first student normally, but the second, instead of displaying byte by byte, it displays only byte. Why? Because once you are entering values into a string using scanf, once you hit the space bar key, scanf closes everything and he says, I'm no more with you. I'm just taking one string with containing no spaces. Just like the C compiler knows that the end of a string is the zero operator, the slash and zero. Scanf says that for him, once you press space bar, it means that there is nothing to enter again in the string. So that is why at this level it displays only byte. That is why we say that when you are writing programs where the string value do not contain space, make sure the scanf is appropriate to use. Otherwise, it is not appropriate to use. As you can see, the first name you enter was byte, it displayed correctly. The second name was byte by byte, it did not display it. So now we saw the other alternative is using what? Get. So and get, you just put get inside, you have the name of the variable. So I have get. That's what we have. So if I run now, undefined referring to get, it is gets. Yes, so as I hope you are seeing the syntax, you just put the word get, then inside the bracket you put the name of the variable. And please, let me precise again. If you are using this square in order to read values, or you are using it in order to print, remember that you are talking about a particular element of the array or of the string in this case. So now let me run again. This time around, I'm going to enter the name of one of my best students. So I first of all enter, his first name is Nyemke. Then the second, I will now enter his full name, Nyemke Leo. So now once I display, so that everything is being displayed very well, as you can see. Why? Because I use get in order to read values into the string. So you see that get is also taking the space into consideration, which is not the case for scanf. So when if you are writing a program that is making use of string values containing space, then get is the appropriate method to use in order to read the values of those strings. We also saw that another alternative is by using a for loop, that is for I equals to 1, 0, sorry, I less than 20, because the size is 20, I increment scanf percentage %c ampersand name1 at position I, and that is all. So let us look at something. If I run, this will be for name1, so let me delete this. So if I run, for I equals to, I is undeclared. If I run now, it's going to take character by character. So I will say byte space space. So you see it is saying enter the name of your enter the name of the second student. First, your name is B. So you see that in this case, you are having some types of errors that it is very difficult for you to explain, which is not appropriate. So the best way to use is first of all to know the kind of values that are going to be entered. If the string values do not contain space, then scanf is appropriate to use. But if they contain space, then get is the one which is appropriate to use, dear student. Another drawback of this is that if you set the size to be 20, then for you to enter the last element, you simply need to use the /0. Let us run and see. If I enter, first of all, B, then the other character enters /0, B, so that we're having a problem, as you can see. So, dear students, this one, I will not advise a student to use this particular one, because in order for you to enter the values in a string, character by character, then there are other methods that you need to use, and some codes that need to be put in place in order for you to enter the name, the different characters of the string by one by one. So let us proceed to how to you can read a particular string variable. Writing string. The format specifier %s is used in printf method to output strings. That is, you know the syntax. Note that The printf writes the characters in the string one by one until it encounters a null character. So once there's a null character, it stops. Just like the scanf, after a space, it stops reading. If a null character is missing, it continues past the end of the string until it finds a null character in memory. To print just part of a string, we can use the conversion specification %.ks, just like like in for float when you want to precise number of decimal places. For strings, it is also possible. So when you precise %.k, it means that what k is the number of characters to be displayed. So using the string variable name above, we're talking about this particular name, hello world. If I use printf %.4s is going to print hell because this is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to print only the first four characters. Just like integers and real numbers, strings can be printed within fields of specific sizes. The specification %ms will display a string in a field of size m. So if I say %5s, it means that what? The field to display the string is going to be 5. But if the string is longer than the specified size, the string will be fully displayed and it will not be truncated like this particular specifier is doing. And if the string is shorter, then the string will be left justified. That is, the free spaces of the field will be on the left. An alternative method used to write strings is the put method. It has just one argument, the name of the string, just like the get method. Please, it is gets, not gets. Just like this one is puts. In contrast to printf, puts always write an additional new line character, that is setting the next text to begin with a new line. Let us look at it. Okay, we are back here. So what do we have? First of all, yeah, this is get name. So for name one, I'm going to initialize it. I will say hello world. Now, when we are using printf to display, you are all seeing what is happening. Let me comment this one. Good. So it displays your name is hello world because name one has been initialized to hello world. Now, if I come at the beginning here and I indicate and I put this /0, meaning the end, printf will only display this because the printf is printing character by character. Once it sees this, because this by default is always at the end in memory. So when the compiler print, we know that printf is going to print HELLO space WORLD. Then since in memory the last element, if the array is not fully occupied, then the last element, the next empty element is what? This zero character. That is why printf by default, once you see this character, it stops. But we are putting in the middle for you to actually see how it does that, because you might only think that it is just by default, that is always the case, it will always print to the end. So as I introduce this in the middle, it's only going to print hello. As you can see in this our output, what we have, your name is hello, because since it saw this character /0, it knows that we are always at the end of our string, so it ended. So that is how it is. Now another thing we saw is that if I come here and I say %.4, it's going to say your name is hell. So that is what we have. So percentage point something helps you to print just a part of a particular string, dear students. Now, another thing is that if I say percentage 10s, although this is only more than 10 counters, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, this is 11, but let me just say 5. So when I print this, the size of the field is small and the array is larger, so it will still print everything. But if I come and I say, for example, 25, you know that this particular string is lower than this 25. So the other empty element that are supposed to be specified by this 25, by this field of size 25, are going to be on the left. So you are going to see the space that will be produced on the left. This is it. So we are saying that what? This string hello world should be displayed within a field of size 25. But since hello world just occupies 11, it means that the other 14 are represented by this empty space, as you can see. So that what happened when the field size is above the string size. So that is what we have, dear student. We also saw that printf by default, like we know since we started coding in C, does not put a default /n at the end. The proof, if I come and I say printf thanks by members semicolon, as I am running, all of this is going to be on the same line. Your first name is hello thanks by members. That's what we have. I'm forced to come here and I put a /n before it's going to be displayed, as you can see. But if I am using instead put, and we said that put is putting a default at the end, a default /n. So if I say print put, and the other put just like get, you just write your put, you put in the name of the string. So I'm going to say name1. When I run this, it's going to display name1. Then this other message will be 2 lines at the left because of this /n. Let me remove the /n so that you witness that it produces at the end. So I have your name, then under you have thanks by members, as you can see. So put by default introduces /n at the end. So that is what we have when it comes to outputting strings. Let me see if put also consider this character in the middle. So if I run, let me see if it's going to print hello world or simply hello. It prints hello also. So guys, pay attention to this powerful combination of character. It specifies the end of a particular string. That is what we have. Another big drawback of this put is that I don't think it can output a message with the name. Let us see. So if I say, for example, hello, it's going to print the hello, but I'm not sure it's going to print it with the name. Let us see. Hello, correct. So now if I add name1 and I print error, as you can see, that is what we have. So we know where printf is suitable to use and where put is suitable to use. Printf is similar to put, just that you need to know that a /n should always be at the end. Another thing is that if I come here and I say name2 is equals to name1, just like we have been doing with arithmetic operators, if I run this, you see we're having an error. It says assignment to expression with array type. So you see that we are going in our next video to look at those string methods. Let me introduce it here. So in our next lesson, we are going to introduce all the methods of this particular class, the string.h library, whereby we are going to see those methods that help us to determine the length of an array, to copy two arrays, to join two arrays, and to perform other functions on strings. When I'm talking about arrays, I'm talking about array of characters which are string, and all of those methods are present in this particular library. So dear students, thanks for watching this video. Do not forget to like, to subscribe, and to share for our community to grow, and see you in the next lesson where we shall discover these different methods of the string library. Thanks, and see you in the next video.